Hey everyone, and a very warm welcome to you. Today, we're going to dive into something really profound. It's a prayer from the heart of the Quran in Surah Ibrahim. But we're not just going to read it. We're going to unpack it as a kind of timeless blueprint, a practical guide for building something that truly matters, a spiritual legacy that can last for generations. So let me just ask you this. Think about it for a second. How do you build something that actually lasts? Whether it's a family, a community, an entire institution, what's the secret sauce? What does it take to create something with real staying power? Something that's going to outlive you and keep making a positive impact on the world? Well, it's a huge question, right? But what if I told you that an ancient prayer gives us a blueprint for exactly that? That's what we find in the words of Prophet Ibrahim. This isn't just a simple request. It's a strategic, thoughtful, multi-generational plan for building a community that is completely centered on faith. All right, let's get into it. Okay, part one. Every lasting legacy, every project that stands the test of time has to start with a rock-solid foundation. And Abraham's prayer shows us exactly where that beginning is. You start by securing the physical place, and then you focus on guiding the people who live there. And look where he starts, with the absolute basics. First, a prayer for security, for a safe place, a sanctuary where a community can put down roots and not live in fear. Then, right after that, a prayer for provision, for the practical stuff, the food, the sustenance they need to actually survive and thrive. This is the essential infrastructure. You can't build a spiritual home on an empty stomach or in a war zone. Now, this is where you start to see the real genius of this prayer. It's this incredible dual focus. He prays for al-balad, the city, its physical safety and structure. But in the very same breath, he prays for his dhurriyyati, his descendants, his people, their spiritual well-being. He's balancing the practical needs of a place with the spiritual needs of its people. Because, you see, you can't really have one flourish without the other, can you? But here's the thing. Abraham is no wide-eyed idealist. He's a prophet. He's seen the best and the worst of humanity. And his prayer reflects this deep, almost sober realism about just how challenging leadership is and the reality of human nature. And we see that crystal clear in the very next verse. So what he does is strike this incredible balance. He's completely honest. He openly acknowledges that false idols have led astray many among the people. He doesn't sugarcoat it. But, and this is the crucial part, he doesn't despair. He doesn't give up. He simply extends an invitation. Whoever follows me, he is of me. And for those who don't, he entrusts them to God's boundless mercy. And that combination, that realism plus hope, is a true hallmark of prophetic wisdom. Okay, so the foundations are set. The physical space is secure. What's next? Well, the blueprint shifts inward. It moves beyond just building walls and securing the perimeter. The next critical step is about winning the hearts of the people. I mean, just listen to this line. It's so powerful. He doesn't just ask for people to put up with his family or to tolerate this new community. No, he asks for something so much deeper. He prays for their hearts to incline toward them, to be genuinely drawn to them with real love and attraction. And in Arabic, the phrase is just beautiful. Qulubu an-nas tahwi ilayha. It's literally a prayer for inner attraction. This is the hearts and minds part of the strategy. He knows a true legacy isn't built on walls and wealth. It's built on connection. It's built on people wanting to be a part of what you're building. And right after that, Abraham does something incredible. He just lays it all bare. He turns to God with complete vulnerability and trust and says, "Our Lord, indeed you know what we conceal and what we declare." It's not a tactic. It's a total sincere admission that he's relying completely on God's perfect knowledge of everything, seen and unseen. And it's from that place of total trust that he asks for two things that are kind of like the spiritual scaffolding for success. First, rahmah, which is mercy, that divine gift that heals our mistakes and our weaknesses. And second, rashad, or right guidance, that practical, day-to-day wisdom to manage things well and make the right calls. You need both, mercy and guidance. Together, they're the spiritual and practical support system any community needs to really take off. So, the foundation is secure. The hearts are being won over. But what's the point of it all? What's the ultimate mission? And this brings us to the final and most important part of the blueprint, defining what the ultimate legacy is. And it's all about becoming an eternal witness. And this is where the prayer gets super specific about the character of this community. He asks that they be muslimin laka, submitting themselves entirely for you, for God. He asks for an ummah, a whole community legacy, showing this is way bigger than just one person's piety. Then he gets so practical, asking for clarity. Show us our ways of worship, so there's no confusion. And it all lands on a foundation of humility, always seeking forgiveness and mercy. And then, wow, then comes the peak, the absolute summit of this whole prayer. After everything else, the final, ultimate request is this: so register us among the witnesses. And this one line, it just changes everything. It elevates the whole thing to another level. See, the ultimate goal isn't just to build a successful city that lasts for a few hundred years. The goal is to build a community whose very existence, whose very story stands as proof, as a witness to the truth, before God and before all of human history. That's the real legacy. So let's just pull back and look at the whole blueprint, step by step. 1, build that solid foundation, secure the place, and guide the people. 2, acknowledge reality, be honest about human weakness, but never lose hope. 3, win the hearts, pray for that genuine inner attraction. 4, define the purpose with clear, correct worship. And finally, number 5, witness the truth, aspire to that eternal legacy. You see, this is why this prayer is so central in the Quran. It's not just a beautiful story from the past. It's not a history lesson. It's a living example of how we are meant to respond to God's guidance. We're meant to actively build, to pray with this much intention, to safeguard what we've been given, and in the end, to entrust the future completely to God. So as we've seen, this divine blueprint is this amazing balance of the practical and the spiritual, of realism and hope, building for today while always aspiring for eternity. And so that leaves us with one final question to really think about. What blueprint for legacy are you building?